You're listening to the Writer's Block Podcast with L.A. Wade.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to have you here on this platform where we strive to normalize vulnerability. We try to expand empathy and compassion, especially for creatives and people who struggle with mental health issues. So I think in life we write a script, but in our creativity we're writing. And a lot of times that life imitates art and we get blocked for real. And so what we're trying to do is find ways that learning from other people who have been able to gain success, be creative despite the blocks, and try to tell a story about how that happened. So welcome into the podcast. It's so great to have you here.
I like the name Writer's Block. It's dope.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It was God that just came, that the Holy Spirit just came upon me. I always say that I got a Holy Ghost writer, so maybe I do. I think I got a Holy Ghost writer for real.
I don't know if that was a Holy Ghost writer that helped you write a pretty dope movie, but that was fun to be in.
Yeah, it was so great to have you on Thirsty. I can't lie that
I appreciate it.
I wrote that piece for you because that African proverb thing that you dropped, it's just everything.
You know what's cool? What I love is the fact that you were able to pen the perfect African character. Like, I don't know how a non-African person, I mean, we're all African at the end of the day.
Exactly.
But I think it's crazy that I didn't have to change much of the script to fit. I didn't have to do much. I was reading, I was like, yo, like, did you get like did my dad help you write this, bro? It's a pretty accurate, depiction of.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of African people. There's a lot, and I've drawn in. I don't know if you're Nigerian or I don't know if you're like the major hype of Africa where you can't say.
No, I'm Ghana. I mean, I know.
So I have this affinity to Ghana. I don't know if you can see my my Dinkra symbol. So it's my dual my dual Sankofa. And I love this idea of reaching back to bring forward. And I think that the traditions of Ghana have been embedded into my heart. My mom got married in a Ghanaian garb.
Oh,
it's just, it was just been a part of my life. So where other people were making fun of Africans while they were here when we were younger, I was like fighting people, like, you don't know nothing.
No, that's true. But, Africa's popular now.
Yeah, now everybody wants to be African.
Everyone's trying to go to Ghana. Everyone's trying to go out there. I don't blame them because Ghana's lit right now.
And I heard this.
Afrobeats movement, African artists are emerging. It's dope. It's good to see, man.
I'd love to see it. And that return. Yeah, well, the invitation was nice too, the return to Ghana, everybody wanting to make that exodus that was a really nice reach because I think a long time people just felt disconnected from the continent purposefully.
Right.
That was part of the agenda, but
I guess back then it wasn't cool, right? But I guess back then, I don't mean that disrespectfully because I've always thought
no, of course not.
What I mean is now it's like a trend now.
It is, and I hope that trend trends into the internalization of the pride that Africa can represent for you if you allow it to.
Yeah, Black Panther shouldn't have to release a movie before.
You know what I'm saying?
We decided to be African. Everybody was African with Black Panther.
Exactly, and that's when it all came out. But you know what? I'm here for that cultural movement. Finally,
it was dope to see, though.
And, it felt good.
It was dope to see people showing up to theaters in kente cloth, and it was dope to see. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like we were going to one of my parents' outings. Like a real.
It's true. That transformation was real, and I'm here for it. And it doesn't need to be a trend. I hope it really is just how we're moving in the direction of being.
It's got beautiful culture. Embrace it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about moving down there for a month in December.
Which part?
In Accra.
Well, you're gonna go to Ghana?
Yeah. Oh. Because one of my best friends, Mike Truth, he is he's Ghanaian. He's always he always teaching me things so that I can speak the Twi. And I mean, I might sound like a white person trying to sound Jamaican, but at the same time, at least if Ed Sheeran can do it, I can do it.
Ed Sheeran, wow, that's white.
He's fire.
Ed Sheeran gets a pass for some.
Yeah, man, it's like he was born right there. It's crazy. We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Eventually, it comes to me, it's like, hey, so when are you going back to? When are you going back home? I was just like, Ed, don't do that, please, please don't.
So I wanted to start with like an understanding of who Frankie is and who Trixx is, and who the main characters are in your life that help to distinguish between those two and how it brought you to where you are. What a loaded question. I can break it down for you more if you need to.
No,
But
it's cool.
essentially, who's Frankie? Who's Trixx? Who were the people that supported both of these people, and how did you amalgamate?
I would say Frankie is a kid with who has dreams and pretty big goals. Very when I was when I was a kid, I was very insecure about
Hmm.
who I am and very self conscious, and that had a lot to do with a lot of things. Kids used to tease you if you were dark,
Yeah.
large nose. They used to, I mean, kids could really make your life hell when you're young. I was very self conscious, but that also morphed into a person who became a person who deflected a lot. So I would always make fun of people. In your high school, you used to have people who were very good at insulting people,
Yeah.
and
Your mama jokes,
your mama jokes, whatever, burns. We call them burns back then.
burns, and you'd have the finger.
Yeah, and everybody's black people. We like to make things worse than they are, and especially in the cafeteria. So I became that person. But you realize when you get older that person is just deflecting because they're insecure about themselves, but so they want you to focus on other people. So they're constantly making fun, pointing finger at other people because they're
Right.
not truly happy with themselves, right? And it took me a while to realize that that's who I was in high school. And it sucks because when you're making fun of people and everyone's laughing with you, like, yo, you can't test Frankie. You think that you're cool and you think that people like you, but in actuality, they don't really like you. They just tolerate you. That's
That's crazy.
and that's it's a horrible realization when you get older that these people were never your friends. They were just like they just tolerated you.
Yeah.
They actually liked the person you were making fun of because that person you were making fun of was probably themselves and
Oh
also
man.
themselves. So a lot of learning. That's who Frankie was, but Frankie became Trixx because Frankie had this ridiculous need to be accepted and wanted to be, have status and fame, and it's interesting what happens when I became Trixx because
Right.
Trixx came with um, Trixx came with status, but most importantly, Trixx came with access. And I was hosting some of the biggest parties in Toronto. First
Yep.
was the all ages scene, then was the 19 and over scene. And then I was on radio, right? So I represented access for a lot of people.
Mhm.
This is when the girls came. To be honest with you, girls I had no business with. That's when they come along because you represent access. You can get them into the biggest and best parties on a Saturday night, right? Them and their
Yep.
girls, free drinks, whatever. And if you're the more popular person of that party, they get to brag and say they're with you. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So that came status, it came popularity, everything Frankie wanted. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But
Yep.
Frankie didn't get
Mhm.
that because I wasn't a part of Ill Kids, and I wasn't emceeing next to starting from scratch, and I wasn't dancing on speakers. I wasn't on Caravana floats.
Right.
Like this is when you're the club MC, you're the face of the party essentially.
Exactly.
So and then
Exactly.
when you're on radio, a very popular radio station, you're the voice of the radio station. So
Yeah.
and then I was hosting concerts. So people were like, "Yo, Trixx Wu-Tang's coming to town. Can you get me a ticket?"
Hook me up. Hook me up.
Right? And then you represent the hookup. So Trixx becomes the popular guy that Frankie always wanted to be, and then at some point you realize that you know
That Frankie was pretty dope, and it was okay just being Frankie.
it's cool being Frankie, and Trixx is just he's just the umbrella.
Yeah,
He's
I
just
like that.
he's the guy that Trixx hides behind. because
I like
everyone
that.
thinks Trixx is the better entity, but Frankie's a lot cooler. Trust me.
I want to ask like so you talked a little bit about the DJ influence in the comedy, but what did Toronto's vibrant cultural scene play in shaping your comedic style?
Excuse me, I just got over a cough.
Right.
Toronto is first of all, Toronto is a place I will never diss. I'll never forget because I feel like Toronto birthed my stage presence. It birthed my ability to talk to different people
Right.
because we're so diverse in Toronto. Jamaicans, Africans, Filipinos, Middle Eastern people, Chinese people, Japanese people, Trinis, you know,
Yeah.
just a plethora of different people. And I feel like Toronto helped me be able to speak to different people. So now when I go abroad, my jokes, I can tell my jokes to anybody because I learned to
Right.
speak to different peoples in Toronto. And Toronto also gave me balls. You know what I mean?
That's for sure.
Toronto's an extension of New York. Everybody says like if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Well, that's how I feel about Toronto, really,
It's true.
because Toronto, we're so spoiled. We're so spoiled, and
And screw face.
anytime there's a tour, if Janet Jackson or Beyonce, whoever is going on a tour, Toronto's getting a date. Like we get everything,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
we're spoiled, and so you have to be funny, and not people. You know how, especially with black people, they won't.
With our screw face.
When
We're
they
screw
spend
face
money,
capital, right?
yeah, if they spend money to come see you, you better you better be worth their money.
We're
So
so Gucci.
it's the truth. So it taught me how to, I wasn't afraid to perform anywhere, because
That's good.
Toronto, Screwface Capital Field, people don't support you. People don't care about you until people care about you. That's just
Fact.
reality. So yeah,
Yeah.
Toronto gave me a lot of life lessons.
I like that. So, okay. So I like to use some quotes to have you reflect on some things.
Okay.
So I don't know where I got this, but it says Trixx is known more for comedy than controversy, always hitting the stage with big laughs, leaving the audience wanting more. What does this quote mean to you in the context of your career?
That's funny because when you're starting out, somebody makes your media kit. They
They make
they write your bio for you. They don't sit and talk to you. They just come up with this bio and they prove it. And I read that and I was like, yo, I mean, I'm known for comedy more than controversy. I think it's the other way around because
it's quite controversial, actually.
if I remember some days, everybody remembers the infamous F Flow video that went around.
Talk about it. But some people don't know. So what was that?
Well, here's the thing. I was let go from Flow, and I was let go from Flow wrongly,
Oh, yeah.
unjustly, right? They accused me of doing something, and the protocol when you in any job, the protocol is if they think you've done something wrong, they would suspend you and look into it,
Yes,
investigate
investigate.
it, and then whenever it comes out of the investigation, then they deal with you accordingly. When you come
Right.
back to work or you don't come back to work, whatever. But
Yes.
they accused me of something that I didn't do, and then they fired me for it. And I think it was just they just wanted to get rid of me because you know how
Yeah,
you
they do
work,
that.
so
I work
know
there.
how things ran in the old regime. And
Launch.
at first, I was already upset. I was already upset, and back then I was a very angry guy. So I was already upset, and then I wouldn't have said anything if I didn't walk into different buildings in Toronto and
Yeah.
hear people say, "I heard you got fired for this," and like this was like executives.
Oh my God.
So I felt defenseless. So one day there was a show at Yuck Yucks, everybody knows the famous Nubian Disciple show. Shout out
Yep.
to Lee Robinson. This show's been
Oh my
going
God.
on
Big
for
ups.
almost 30
I
years.
heard he's about to do some real shit over here finally.
30 years this show's been going on in Toronto. And Kenny Robinson is a big part of giving black people in Toronto especially a platform where we could be ourselves. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go on stage and I'm just going to speak my mind about Flow. And I told like maybe 2 people. And then 2 people in Toronto turns to 10 people. Everybody's in the audience with their phones out. I'll never forget this. Everybody's out there with their phones out because they're like, "What is Trixx gonna say?" And I was so mad. And in
Oh,
hindsight, looking back on it, I wish I did I did it the way I am now because
right,
I'm a long term thinker and I have more tact and I believe that I could have spoke even though I was angry, but I still could have had a message.
right.
But at that time, it was just a drive by, and I didn't care who got hit.
I've been there.
I went up there and I was like, F flow. I started naming names. I said things about
Mm-mm.
people's personal life. I just didn't care. And
Wow.
it was venomous. And, looking back on it, it still made an impact. Right.
Yeah.
But I wish I
Mm-mm.
could have done it the way I am now because I would have targeted I still would have targeted certain people, but it would have been a message as opposed to being this venomous angry
Yeah,
guy on stage who's just saying all these horrible things. It would have been a direct message, and I think it would have been appreciated more
for sure.
now.
Because everyone felt what you were saying. In some respects, they understood what the frustration was. But Toronto people will sit by and be like, "Ooh, let me go see what's going to happen here,"
Now,
instead of standing up beside you and being like, "Yeah, I was wrong too."
everybody loves tea. Everybody loves tea, but not all tea needs sugar.
It's
So
so true.
if obviously I'm older, so that was just a kid who was angry, pissed off, and I felt like that was the way for me to defend myself and get back. And it definitely I'll never forget. The certain powers that be there were angry,
Oh, I'm sure.
and I remember phone calls. I remember being banned from the station. You couldn't even mention my name if you had an event and I was on it.
Mhm.
You couldn't mention me. It just got so
I guess
ridiculous.
did it mute your career for a little bit, and
No,
then
no,
okay,
people
good.
people still booked me, but there were some disloyal people who were like, well, Flo was like, without telling you, they were like, well, if Trixx is on it, you can't advertise here, kind of thing. And,
That's
and then
crazy.
it forced them to take me off the event because they need advertisement. And Flo was at the time was the only source of getting people
Yeah.
to come to events. So I did lose stuff out of it. And, eventually things worked itself out. And I ended up working with some of those entities at G98.7, right? And that turned into a thing. But this time,
Oh, good.
this is an older Trixx now. Because if you notice, there was no FG98.7.
No, there was not.
This is me being a little bit more tactical now. I was like, okay,
Yep.
look. And, things happen for a reason. I believe things happen for a reason. It's not my job to worry about why things happen. It's
Right.
my job to figure out what I'm going to do when those things happen.
Yeah, and you've obviously been reflective about it, and me, I am the worst. I've shot up almost everybody I know,
Oh, I'm petty.
so
I was.
I've had to start over so many times.
We're all petty.
Um,
It's a level of pettiness to all of us,
yeah,
But
but also it also comes from that same. Well, I don't know about for you, but for me, it came from that place of insecurity. It came from that resentment of not belonging just right off the rip. It felt like
right.
I always had to prove and prove and prove. And when I finally got there and I was doing the most to try to help something that I really believed in,
Mm.
then you feel hurt, like it's your own family that's discarding you. So,
It does suck, But I've always said that I've always been the roadblock in my career many times.
I don't
I
know.
wonder where I would have been if I didn't do or make certain decisions. Um, there's a lot of decisions that I regretfully made, and a lot of
And
bridges that I regretfully burned. Well, I
yeah,
didn't burn every bridge. That's the important thing. I didn't burn every bridge, and I was
yeah,
able to leave Toronto, reset, come to the states, reset, and rebuild some relationships. Some relationships are gone; they're never coming back, and that's just the bed you made. You got to lay in it. But
yeah,
um, some relationships were repaired because we're older.
right,
We're a lot more wiser now.
yeah,
Like I said, if this version of me can go back to younger me and be like, listen, man, it's the F flow moment's gonna feel cool, but I promise you, like when the issue
yes.
end, no one's gonna be around you, bro. Like it's just not.
It's crazy. But I guess that there's baptism by fire where you had to be removed and set apart to become the Trixx that we all love now. Even those that probably are still hating have to give you your respect because of what you've been able to build despite.
There's definitely people who think I'm
Well, that's something they should work
the
out. I
devil.
shall bring
The
them
devil.
on the show and have them work through it.
No, but, if we're getting vulnerable on this, it's the truth. I mean, like I said, there was a moment in my life. There was a very dark moment in my life where something I had been doing to people came to light, and it's nothing. I'm not Bill Cosby, so
I want dibs on the documentary.
uh, it was something. It's something obviously I'm not proud of, and,
Of course.
but a few people know. A lot of people know. Some people do. Some people don't. Whatever. I have no problem talking about it. But it was something that I was doing to people for a long time, and it was very wrong. And it came to light, and I found out what it's like to have an entire community of people just hate you. And
Yeah.
I mean, there was a thread, and I mean comments, and it was just like huge backlash. But you know something? I'm glad it happened, and I know people are like, "Wait a minute, why would you be happy that happened?" I'm glad it happened because it exposed a few things. One, it forced me to look at myself, which we all don't like doing. Nobody likes to look at themselves. You
That's
understand?
true.
And I feel like the only way you can be truly sorry for something is you have to really understand why people are upset at you for what you did, and that involves you looking at yourself and finding out things about yourself that either you are hiding and afraid to face,
Yep.
or things you just don't want to know about yourself.
So true.
And that was that whole reflective time. But also, you also find out who was truly in your corner to begin with. Because
Yeah,
if people believe a story about you and they haven't even talked to you and they just believe it, that means those people were looking for ways to be against you in the first place. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yep.
And then look at the people that you treated like crap and that took you for granted. They're the ones who are by your side in your darkest moment.
Yeah.
How
Those are the real ones.
right? How crazy
Yeah.
is that? So I learned a lot. So that's all part of the reset. It's all part of the reset, So am I in a better place now? Absolutely.
Yeah. Praise God. And that's how I give it. Praise God.
Perfect.
Because I think we're better for seeing your own growth. I'm really proud of you. So when I was like, how am I going to get Trixx on this flipping movie? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't seen Trixx in years.
It's
He doesn't live
crazy.
here anymore.
Well, we have mutual friends because
Yeah.
first of all, shout out to Janae Armagon, who's like
I love her so much.
she's like
And her
my little
sister.
sister, right? She's like my little sister, and she's the one that hits me up and is like, and you know what? And being in the business, and you know this, LA. How many times have I, as a comedian, and someone's come up to me like, "Yeah, I got this script, and I'm doing a movie," and nothing.
Especially here.
You understand? Nothing comes of it, and it sucks because it makes you jaded, and then you don't want to hear when the real people who have real projects come to you. So Janae knows I'll listen to her. She hits me up and she's like, "Hey, do you remember LA?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "LA, wait, you remember?" And I'm like, "Okay, why does this name sound familiar?" And then she kept talking. I'm like, "I remember her. Wasn't she like at Flow?"
Yeah.
Flo, I remember her. And she was like one of the nice ones. I remember her. Like, was she with the receptionist? She's somebody, like, she's one of the OG Flo people. I
Right.
remember her. And she's like, yo, she's got this project that I'm in, and she wants you to be in it. She actually wrote the role for you. And I go, well, what am I doing? She's like, and then she showed me, I don't know if it was the sides or like the synopsis of the character.
Oh, yes.
Oh, she wants me to be an African dude. Okay, an African professor kind of guy who's moderating a sex addict group. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Like, yeah, she wrote it specifically for you. And I go, okay, well, send me the script. And then I reached out to was it was it Kamal?
Casey.
Was it Casey?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
That was our program manager.
yeah. I was
Big up
trying to do.
Casey.
Shout
Big
out
up
to Casey.
Casey.
I was
I couldn't do nothing without that girl.
She was nobody. She's so thorough. I mean, I love
Honestly,
her. Shout out.
special case is on the case. She's dope.
She really she made things so easy.
Yeah.
So I read the script and I was like, okay, this is hilarious. And then once we did the the first read, I was like, yeah, okay, I definitely want to be a part of this. So
Amazing.
I'm glad because my schedule is so sporadic. So I
You
was
know.
to do it.
Well, I don't know if you knew that Norm was in it. Big Norm was in it, and I really wanted White Yachty in it to play the role of Tyrone with all of the Bebe's kids.
Oh, that'd have been
But the schedule didn't work for him either. So it was just really it became the Trixx and Big Norm has such a small role, so it literally became like you're on the poster. I don't know if you can see the poster behind me over
yes, I
here.
saw it. I was like, yo, I'm in a movie where you could actually like I talk. You know, I don't have to like be like, hey, here's my part. Wait a minute. See me? There I am, right there.
Where's my hand?
No, I was. This was
No,
fun. It was fun.
yeah, and I can't wait to make it into a TV series. We might have a question later on about that, but
Shout
I
out
just
to all your actors too. Like they were.
they were so good.
I mean,
At the
like,
screening, people were making a point of saying like, "Who did the casting for this?" Like,
yo,
you put together the right group of people to make this happen. It was something that was new for Toronto, but like it felt global in a sense.
Corona.
And
She's amazing.
she's
Shout out to
amazing.
her. Uh,
Mark Taylor,
the
Janae.
white girl, man. I keep forgetting.
Oh, Lindsay Middleton.
Lindsay is a star.
She's
That is
superstar.
a SNL. She is so her timing. Like she's just so good.
She's
Like,
on it.
natural.
Yeah.
She was the one where I was like, I can't look at her. I'll just start laughing. You know, every 5 minutes. She was so good. Everybody was amazing.
Yeah. It was a great experience. And to think that this was just my first short film,
It'll be
it
your
was
last.
yeah.
It'll be your
So
last.
this is an exciting time for
It
sure.
was awesome.
Okay, we don't have to keep talking about me.
Oh, take your flowers. Like that was such a good project.
Thank you so
I can't
much.
wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, we're going to continue this journey. We'll be actually at the Pan African Film Festival in a couple of weeks, August 17th. Yes, I have both films. Mello and I also directed a movie with Professor James Small. He is a huge Pan African historian who advises Godfather of Harlem, that show with Forrest Whitaker. He is our executive producer. Oh, the show's fire, Godfather of Harlem.
Shout out to
So we have a short doc on that. So
okay.
that's going to be dope to release something really like more serious and more identity focused, because Africanism is something that I want all of us to hold as a torch, because that's who we are and we act like we're not. So that's a big project there. And then of course Thirsty AF, which I can't wait to make into a series. And I just bringing it out to the gods that you will be able to get a role that is the role we wrote for you.
Oh,
And that
I will make time for it.
yeah, oh well, you'll be paid properly to make sure you're always
I
there.
will
Not
make time for it. And I shout out to everyone that got to go to the premiere. I was kind of sad.
oh God,
I was sad.
I can't, it's so heavy.
Why? It was your night though. That was awesome.
It was so heavy not to have you there because people were anticipating seeing you there.
Oh, people wanted. You know what's crazy? I put up a clip because
Yeah,
I remember you sent me my
you're real.
reel, and I took the scene with me and Kevin, and I put it up, and everyone's like, "Yo, where's this movie, bro? Like, where's this movie?" First of all, the name
I
attracts
know.
people to it. They're like, "What do you have to do with a sex addict?"
Aruka.
I am not the sex addict in the movie, so like, let's stop that. I'm the one that helps the sex addict, which is ridiculous because he knows that I can't help a sex addict.
Right, you might make them trip up.
If anything, I encourage it. Dr. Gamble, Mr. Gamble is the one who facilitates, but Trixx is like, no, have more. I encourage bad breedness.
So don't kill me. I can't wait. It's gonna be dope. Okay, I want to go back to like some of the earlier parts. So like tell us about your experience on Much Music's Video on Trial
Oh wow!
and how it helped shape your career. Things like when you performed at the Jamaican International Comedy Festival. Like what do these highlights mean for you when you're like break those two things down because they're different.
I have a story for the Jamaica. I'll get to that in a second. Much Music Video on Trial. I wasn't even a comedian yet.
What?
That's what makes it. That's what makes that whole time in my life crazy. I was a DJ, and the
Okay.
only reason I was selected to be on the show originally was because when I was on Project Bounce, I was the host of Project Bounce. I got to be myself on Project Bounce. So they
Mm.
knew I was just an opinionated. I spoke my mind, and that's what the show needed was somebody who could watch a video and just speak his mind on the video. So
Dope.
I wasn't just a token black guy. I was a guy that was the opinionated radio guy.
Right.
So I was DJ Trixx at first on Video on Child. Then I was like, can we lose the DJ part? Because I sound like a house DJ. Just call me Trixx. So then I became Trixx. I was not even a comedian yet when I was
Wow.
on trial. And I used to get booked doing, high school dances all over the city because of Much Music Video on Trial.
That's crazy dope.
And then when I became a comedian, that was like maybe the latter years of Much Music Video on Trial. And I
Yes.
started performing. I was getting booked at colleges everywhere.
This really set up your career.
Bruh, I used to walk in and I felt like I was Justin Bieber. Like the way people would react. Cause I didn't realize how big of a show Much Music Video on Trial really was.
It really was.
And we were rock stars.
That's amazing.
Rock stars. We got to go to the awards. We walked the red carpet. We were rock stars. So I got a little taste of that life. And then and that just propelled my.
Yeah, that was all preparation.
But the Jamaican Comedy Festival.
What? Walk me through that.
That was the first time I ever played Jamaica. And and all my Jamaican people, this is not an indictment on you because anyone who knows me knows I love my Jamaican people.
Of course.
But I had heard horror stories about like what happens if you suck in Jamaica. And so, they oh man, if you're not funny, they throw buckle on you. Like I hear all these things. They even buckle Beanie Man. I'm like, if they,
Oh no.
right? And so here's the thing. So this is my first time going to Jamaica, period. I've never.
Wow, you had never been even.
And it was me, Jay Martin, and Ron Jossel. And I remember I was mortified. Like I had never been so scared to do a show in my life.
You me cry.
Because this is Jamaica now. This is not Toronto. Okay? This is not this is Yad, where if you're not funny, they will let you know in a heartbeat.
Right.
So I remember it was a big crowd too, and I just remember going up there and just doing me, and I remember the African stuff just hitting. But when I did the Jamaican domino joke, I was an instant star. Because the event was televised, and TVJ.
Oh, dope!
You're all over the island. So I went from being scared to a star.
That's amazing.
To the point where when I'm leaving Jamaica and I'm in the airport, people were leaving their posts like, I am not, and running around, and they're like, you're not an African. Tell the truth. I you come from. And they kept hitting me with the domino joke. They're like, the way you did that domino joke was so accurate.
Oh my God! Can people find it online?
Oh, I mean, a lot of people who have seen me have heard the domino joke before.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember, pictures in the airport. It was like the Beatles.
I love it.
And I watched. I'm not going to name the comic. I watched a comic bomb. And they didn't throw anything at him. What they did, because what Jamaicans do, which I love about you Jamaicans, is you disrespectfully get them off the stage. So how they did it was, in Jamaica, they used the spotlights old school. Like a guy is behind the spotlight. And the comic was like, yo, is there any gay people here? Any gay people in Jamaica? And I was like,
oh no.
Kingston, Jamaica? If there's gay people here? Bro, all you see is the light.
Are you dumb?
All you see is the light come off of him. The guy takes the light off of him, and now he's performing in the dark. And the promoter's like, yo, Dread, come on, man, you have to shine the light on him. And the man's like, I'm not shine the light on him. Tell him to come off high stage. I'm not shine the light on him again. Until him come off high stage, man. And me and Ron Johnson are sitting there going, "Oh my god!" And he's there performing, and they're booing him, and they're like, "Come off high stage!" And he says his goodbye, and he leaves, and he went straight to his hotel room, and we never saw him again. And
Oh my.
yeah, it was. I was like, so that's what happens when they don't like you.
Well, I'm glad yours hit.
Oh, they love me. They love me, but
And I love that they think of you as a Jamaican and not as an African.
well, I mean, they're like, there's no way you could be African and be able to do our accent because they're used to American comics coming there and doing like this watered down Irish pirate version of their accent. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the
Yes, I do.
Americans come on and they're like, "Huh, what a guan, Jamaica? What a guan?" And they're just like looking at you like, we don't talk like that. And, is everything Irie? You're just like, oh.
It's so bad. It's painful. I know. I know. Oh man, that's hilarious. Okay, let's switch some gears into the would you rather.
Okay.
Would you rather perform at a sold out stadium or a small intimate club?
Small intimate club all day. I think that
Because of
the
the
stadium
reach?
is more for that rock star effect, and you do it to say you've done it. But I'm about connection in comedy, and I feel the intimate, low ceilings, just 200 people around you. That is a way better environment for comedy for me.
I like that. Would you rather create a comedy special that goes viral or a skit that becomes a cultural staple? I think you've already done that.
Uh, I think I would like the cultural staple because that lasts longer. That's more time. Viral
Would you?
viral could be a day. You could be viral for a day. But
That's
you're
true.
for life.
That is so true. Do you miss radio?
Yeah. Because of
So would you rather a comedy show or a radio talk show?
well, because podcasts are in right now,
Yeah.
radio talk show.
Yeah.
Everybody's
I
listening
mean,
to it.
it's a great way to connect. To your point,
Absolutely.
this is a great way to connect.
Yeah,
I
podcasts are in
enjoy
right now.
that.
I like to do a music podcast. I would
Ooh,
love to do a music
do it.
where,
People will maybe do your own video on trial.
kind of like that where we just, yeah, I think it'll be dope.
Okay. Would you rather tour the world doing stand up or stay in one city with a popular weekly show?
Yeah, tour the world.
Yeah.
Tour the world. I want to see as much of the world as possible. And I think it's awesome being able to connect with different people in different parts of the world through laughter and through your thoughts and your jokes. If I can connect with somebody in Australia, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't wait to see where this is all going for you because you're killing the circuit. Like when you hit the clubs, you're smashing it out of the box every time. So somebody has to take notice of this.
at some point, sometimes there's variables and there's a bit of luck that comes with the success in comedy. So one,
Yeah. It's funny because when I know that you've worked with people like Ari Spears, Sugar Sammy, right? Like these are names that people recognize,
absolutely.
and people have the impression that if you work alongside these people, these are your brethrens, and that they will help
No,
you and put you on. That's not how it works.
absolutely
So
not.
how does networking work in the realm of comedy?
Somebody said to me, that a big name comic will never take me on the road because I'm too strong.
I was gonna say you're too good. You'll make them look bad.
I have worked with some of your favorites, and I've opened for some of your favorites. And I remember I used to open for someone in particular, and they took me off that in a heartbeat. And it wasn't
Oh wow!
because I was bad. It was because they just didn't like having to work hard every weekend.
Didn't like to work hard. Lad.
I'll make you work if you got to go out.
Yeah, of course. You can't help it because you're beautiful.
I just want to be funny. And
How do you decide which boundaries to push in your comedy? Because everybody's pretty sensitive these days.
you know what? And I preface that. I tell people, I say, listen, I try to remind people of what it was like back in the day, where we just knew what jokes were, and we were able to laugh at a joke, and we didn't read too much into it, and we weren't so. We didn't come to comedy clubs looking for reasons to be upset. These were back,
Right.
back in the day. Even sitcoms back in the day took on certain subjects that you don't see now because of people's, the internet and certain platforms have given a voice to the people who like to complain about things. We didn't have
Right.
that back in the day. We didn't have the internet back in the day, so people didn't complain as much. People just were in the moment back in the day, and
Who's living?
I try to remind people of that in my comedy.
Yeah.
I push boundaries, but I also know what's not funny, right? I will never try to look for
That's important.
what's funny about rape. There's nothing funny about rape.
You know what I mean?
So I won't
Yeah.
look for that. I won't look for what's funny in child pornography. There's nothing funny about that. So certain subjects I won't even touch. I don't like singling out groups either. I don't do gay lesbian jokes. I don't do political jokes in the sense where I'm going after you because of your beliefs.
Right.
I don't do any of those jokes because I don't like alienating people in the show. I don't like separating the audience. I feel that if you come to a comedy show, everybody should be one and
Right.
enjoy the show. And you shouldn't have to worry about your sexual orientation
Preferences.
being on
Yeah.
display for, you know what I mean? Like you should be able to come there and enjoy like everybody else and laugh and not worry about
Right.
your personal life being put on display, you know?
Yeah. It's hard to determine what's funny now. Like, because some things that people used to say back in the day, oh my God, they can't say that stuff anymore because it's not funny anymore.
You know, like I said, lots of things are funny. Lots of things are funny. And there are comedians who are skilled enough to dig into their pain and find the funny in it. And also not only dig into their pain and find the funny in it, but that pain connects with someone else's pain. So sometimes the comedy show can be a little heavy. But I think if you come in with a mindset that I'm going to a comedy show to laugh and have a good time, then
Right.
you have more of an open mind to what's going to be said on stage. But if you come there with defense mechanisms like, listen, man, I better not hear no jokes about fat people. I better not hear no jokes about white people. I better not hear no jokes about black people. It's just like, listen, you're going to hear those
You're
jokes.
going to hear that. First of all, we're very funny.
Because everything is shaming. You understand what I'm saying? Everything is shaming. Oh, you're fat shaming. Or you're this, your body shaming. Listen,
Yes.
when I see there are fat people who laugh at themselves
Of course.
because they don't take life so serious. You know what I mean? And I don't think you should attack somebody for being fat. Absolutely not. But if
No,
you
yeah.
find something funny that they find funny, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's
Yeah.
look at Monique. Monique, her transformation when she was bigger, she used to her jokes. She used to
I love
give fat people confidence.
it. I love it.
You know the thing I tell people? The only way words have power is if you feel that way about yourself. That's the only way words have power against you. If you low key feel that way about yourself, because now that person's amplifying what's being said about you or what you think about yourself. So if someone calls you ugly and you're like, man, look at me, they call me ugly, that's because you feel that way about yourself. But if you love yourself, these words don't have no effect on you.
It's true.
So all these guys who come to comedy shows, these are all their personal inhibitions that they come there with, and they got to leave them at the door because we're gonna talk about things. If I can make fun of the president of the United States, then I can make fun of you. If I can make fun of myself, I make fun of myself all the time.
Oh yeah, that's where we have to start sometimes.
I make fun of myself. Yeah. I address the elephant in the room. I know this nose is big. I tell everybody that. I know it's not small, but I ain't changing it for you. I don't have time.
Oh my God, I would hate if you changed your appearance.
Could you
for something like that?
I would have got a nose job. I'd be getting made fun of more. I would be made fun of more. You understand?
But you also we remember when Michael switched over, we're kind of like, okay, he's making little changes. But when he becomes unrecognizable, we're like, where's the original Michael?
Let me tell you something, man. Every time I see an old video of Michael Jackson, it hurts me.
It
This
really
was not, this
does.
was not an ugly man. You
No.
understand? This was not an ugly man. He was a beautiful black man, bro. And maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. Only I mean he's not here. Only he can tell you the true reasons he altered his appearance. But when you look at just the transformation,
Yes.
it's sad.
Crazy. It
It's
is.
sad because it's like, and this is how people make you feel about yourself. Now
Mhm.
I'm not saying he didn't have Velarco or whatever the skin diseases. Maybe he did, but he didn't have to
Yeah,
dentist and he didn't have to change his nose. He didn't have to
exactly.
make himself this white looking ghoulish dude.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were a beautiful black man, and I think he needed to hear that more.
I think you need to hear that too a lot
I think he
more
needed to hear
often.
that more. And he didn't hear it
100.
enough. I don't think he heard it enough.
Yeah.
I
It's
trust me.
sad.
I know what it's like, man. People made fun of me my whole life. I have heard every nose joke to date. I've heard every dark joke to date. And believe me, there were moments where I sat in my room wondering what my life would be like if I got a nose job or if I lightened my skin or whatever to be a pretty boy.
Yeah.
When you're younger and when you're younger in high school, these are the feelings you go through. Would it be easy
Yeah.
for me to get girls and stuff? Because,
That's where it starts.
there were girls I had crushes on, and I probably didn't get those girls because other people were in there going, "You date for him, ew." you know. I have pretty boyfriends. I have pretty boy friends
Yeah.
who walk into a room and just get gal because of their looks. And there was
Right.
times where I was envious of that as a young
Of
girl. I was
course.
very envious.
I had really, really bad acne. And I still even I'm like, I'm finally older and I still will have bad scarring and things like that.
Right.
And I legitimately was convincing myself that I was not a beautiful person because of that. And at some point we have to start seeing who we truly are.
Absolutely.
Not only just for what's on the outside, but that's not the only thing that makes someone beautiful.
There's
And yeah,
personality, your the way you are with people, the way you talk,
yeah.
present yourself. I think sexy is a state of mind more than
Hmm.
appearance thing. You can feel sexy. You can feel cute.
True.
You can feel
Yeah.
good about yourself just from buying a new outfit. You know,
It's so true.
Getting a haircut can make you feel, or buying a new car can make you feel good.
It's
So
true.
I just think that we're older now, so now I'm glad I know this now. But it's all a state of mind.
Yeah. It really is. And learning how to radically accept everything about yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly,
Yeah.
and then just kind of like focus on the things you can influence into the good light.
Oh
And
yeah.
you'll
You're gonna have people that come into your life and be like, "Yeah, I heard this about you," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever you heard, times it by 100, bro, and make it work."
exactly.
I, I'm so done with like worrying about what everybody. Not everybody's gonna like you. You can't
It's
name me one
true.
person in this world that everyone likes. Will Smith,
I know. We all loved him for a time, and now look,
he messed up in front of the
now
world.
we're
I
split.
still love Will Smith, but
I still love him too.
if that guy can show you a human side and mess up in front of the whole world, come on, man. Just live your life. That's why I tell people
Yeah.
live.
I feel sad for Jada. I don't know if she can recover the same way as Will, but we all have our thing. That's just what it is. We all have our thing.
Well, she cheated.
She has to forgive herself, I guess.
Well, she cheated on him with a younger man, and she put it out there for the world to know. And at the end of the day, who am I to sit here and judge these people? I got my
Right.
own skeletons I got to worry about. I got
It's
time
so
for the
true.
skeletons about red
It's
table. I have blue
you know what I mean?
table full of bones. About red table.
Oh my god. If you could do your own king and queen of comedy,
Mm.
who would be on the bill?
I have this.
Especially you're there,
It's,
but who are the other
it's
people?
funny you ask that because I've always had this dream, and Drake does the OVO Fest, and I was like, yo, I wish he would do comedy portion, a comedy part,
Yes.
and I was the main host, I would be the host.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Drake has access to the pick of the litter. He has access that I don't have.
Of
Um,
course.
but my dream,
Chappelle.
Chappelle for sure. I'm hosting Chappelle,
Yeah.
Bill Burr,
Mm.
and then for iconic purposes, like just a moment where Eddie Murphy comes out and just
Oh man.
gives us a little stand up of Eddie Murphy now, just for iconic purposes.
Right?
Yeah, that would be my.
Do you have a favorite female comedian
You know,
currently?
and it's funny because I would throw a few female comics on there, but the female comics I would throw on them are not huge yet. They're not
That's okay.
big. Like Corey Bell, who's going to be at the show tonight,
Nice.
Harborfront Center. She would
Yeah,
definitely
make
be
sure
on
you
the
come
show.
down. I can't wait. I'm definitely reaching.
Yes, I would have her on. I'd have a woman by the name of Ty Davis, who is hilarious.
Mhm.
She was on my last Tricks and Friends. Got a standing O.
Nice.
Um,
Yes.
I would actually, you know what? I would put Monique. I like Monique. You know,
Yeah. People would come just because.
I like Monique. I mean, I know Monique. She gets in trouble for speaking her mind sometimes, but I like Monique. I put
Yeah,
Monique
bring
in
her.
there. Lunel. Um, and you know what? Listen, before she was deemed mean, I would rock with Ellen DeGeneres' stand up. I liked her stand
Oh
up.
yeah, she's funny like that.
And
This whole like, oh, am I funny?
for iconic purposes, give me a whoopee, man. I grew up on whoopee.
Oh man, could you? Yeah, that would be dope.
Give me
I
whoopee.
wonder what she would say.
And you know what? And I also Roseanne Barr, bro.
Oh man, I would love to see
And I
Roseanne.
know people, she's deemed racist or whatever trauma she went through with, and then she got canceled. I don't care, bro.
Yeah,
Give me the greats.
it's
Give
the
me the
same
greats.
people that wanted to put Trump into office anyway. So
You know what I mean? Come on, like, I mean, but some of my favorite females are also no longer with us. Like, I would love to have worked with Joan Rivers. Joan
Mhm.
Rivers, man.
She got it.
And one of my
She
favorite
really got it.
comedic actresses was B. Arthur. That's where I get like
Oh man,
the deadpan facial.
Golden Girl.
I get my deadpan from her and Bill Cosby. Like the way they could speak with their face without saying a word. Like when Betty White would say something stupid, and Dorothy's face, man, just her face. It's
So true.
a nice 10-second deadpan. A
Yeah, man.
true comedy when you can speak when you can say something without saying it out of your mouth. I think that's an incredible
Yes.
talent. So
Oh man.
yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah. Oh, that's a good king and queen show still.
for sure.
Amazing. Okay. I've taken up enough of your time. We're gonna do some rapid fire questions and end this thing off. You gotta get ready for the show. Uh do you have a favorite joke of all time?
Yeah, one of
Oh,
my favorite
do tell.
is Eddie Murphy's ice cream joke because because
Ice
I
cream.
was that kid, bro. And when he yells up, "Mom, throw down some money!" Yo, I lived in an apartment. That was us, bro. Like that joke was like I feel like he was there, bro, for our childhood. That was us. I mean, soon as the ice cream bikes
Yes, yes.
used to come into the apartment complex, and I'm talking, you're just seeing parents throw down money to the children. Children are like, "Mom, throw down some money." And then the one kid who didn't get the ice cream, bro. I mean, I'm like, he depicted that so accurately because he
Yes,
put you there. Because I've been the kid who never got the ice cream, and I've been the
right?
kid who made fun of the kid who never got the ice cream. I've been both.
Oh,
I've been, I've been both. That's my
that's
one
so
of my favorite
funny.
jokes. Yeah,
Oh
and Bill
man.
Cosby's dentist joke.
Oh man. Listen, I know people are controversy around Bill Cosby, but like he really set a path for black comedians in a way that
Say which one I'm talking
you can't shit on that.
Say what you want about the man. Oh, shut up, Siri. Siri just fast people's business.
I'm constantly arguing with those flipping AI.
Shut up. Anyway, um, say what you want about Bill Cosby, the man. I'm not here to discuss his personal exploits off stage, but as a
Right.
comedian, he did a lot for Black people. He did a lot. He did a lot for comedy, and a lot of your favorite comedians wanted to be him.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor wanted to be Bill Cosby. So he's still one of the best comedians of all time. It sucks that he's become who, whatever, but
Yeah.
he's still one of the greatest comedians of all time.
Yeah. And we need to learn how to forgive people for things that they do wrong. But I guess people want acknowledgement of things. And
Do you? Do you forgive R. Kelly? Do you forgive Robert?
well, I don't know if he's an acknowledgement. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to acknowledge it. I can't just say sorry and I don't even know what I'm saying sorry for.
Facts.
So if there's a sense of acknowledgement, I think I can get there. You know, I can forgive somebody who says, "My bad. I did that wrong." You just did it. You know, if whoever it was that was that is grace. And it's no different than what is given to them to wake up and breathe every day. So yeah, I do believe in forgiveness a lot. It doesn't mean you gotta, become best friends.
No, it's true. I hear you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I still listen to R. Kelly's music from time to time.
Yeah. I've interviewed so many people that are just like, and I'm like, sing it, man. As long as she's over 18, you good.
Yeah.
You good. Don't worry.
Listening to his music doesn't mean we're going to imitate what he's singing about.
Of course not.
Everybody needs to.
I should hope not. My God. Tell me, what do you do for a day off or how to celebrate yourself? I hope you do
Play
this.
video games.
Okay, what's your favorite game right now?
I'm a Final Fantasy guy. I love Grand Theft Autos. I like games where you can kind of immerse yourself in the game, kind of be that character. Grand Theft Auto is very therapeutic. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because I just pretend all the pedestrians in the game are people I don't like, and I shoot them.
Oh my God, I love it.
And when the police come,
Trixx.
I turn the game off. Like,
oh my God, don't kill me. What do you thirst for?
Happiness. Success and happiness. I think success is a state of mind as well. I think just accomplishing your goals is a success in itself. Success isn't always money, cars, women. It's you woke up and you wanted to do something with your life and you're doing it. That's a success.
Yeah.
But
that is a big success.
But being happy while you're doing it is I think that's the truth.
Yeah, I think that's going to just take acceptance of whatever comes and goes, and try not to judge yourself. Okay, where are you still blocked, and what is your commitment to get unblocked?
My past blocks me sometimes. So I'm just trying to get past my past. And when I say get past my past, I mean me get past my past, not hoping that others will forgive me. I'm more about me letting go.
You forgiving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be the blocking I'm dealing with right now.
Yo, tell them where you're going to be tonight and how they can reach you.
People, Harborfront Center. Okay, Caravana Thursday. Ting, 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 ting. I want everybody to come. It's Trixx and Friends. It's a fun show where I come back to Toronto with a couple comedians that I met in my travels that I've become friends with, and I feel that Toronto should be introduced to these comics. And 9 out of 10 times these comics have never been to Toronto or even Canada. So what better way to introduce them to Toronto than during Caravana weekend?
Right?
Corey Bell, who is she tours with Monique out of Chicago. Hilarious.
I can't wait.
He is there to represent not just the ladies, but just represent, period. Good friend of mine. And then another good friend of mine is Mike Paramore, who is out of Cleveland, very funny, travels all across the country, and is one of the funniest comics I know. So it's going to be a fun show, and there may be a special surprise tonight.
Ooh, I can't wait to see.
Tell you what it is.
Man, if there's more tickets, go out there and grab them. Trixx, thank you so much for being in the Writer's Block podcast. What's that?
So thank you very much for having me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll see you later on tonight. Everybody, keep it locked on the Writer's Block podcast. You can reach your girl. This is LA Wade Inc. on IG. You can follow more about the people that we interview on the writersblock.podcast on IG. And I would like to big up my sponsors, TRF Media. Thank you so much, Mello, for being such an amazing producer extraordinaire. And my personal wine bottle, Thirsty AF by CH Houghton Wines. Head over to thisislawade.com and you can pick yours up. Hopefully the LCBO gets a little bit looser, but if not, you can always buy some wine.
I
I
want
got
to
a
big up
couple
my
of
sponsors too. I want to big up people who wash their chicken before they cook it. Understand? Wash your chicken.
wash it. Come on. Let me throw this phone. No, I'm just kidding. Low key, I've wanted to be a comedian for a long time.
Well, I need a sponsor. I've been throwing phones, bruh. iPhone, Apple, come on, contact.
All right, everybody. We love having you in here. We will see you next time. We're more resilient than we think. Get unblocked. We'll see you next time. Peace.
You're listening to the Writer's Block podcast with LA Wade.
What up? It's your boy Trixx, and I have been unblocked on the Writer's Block podcast. You understand? Because when a monkey sits next to a lion, that does not mean you can dance by yourself. Come on.